G'day guys, Camlock Wild Touring and welcome to this week's episode. This week I wanted to chat about a few little bits and pieces that I'm fitting to the Caravan to get it sort of big lap ready for us. From Cameron Caravans, from factory, they fit like 90% of what we needed for our big lap. You'll see that we optioned a heap of accessories and stuff from factory, but there's a few little bits and pieces that they didn't fit that I want to fit myself. None of them are expensive. Some of them are most of them are things that we've used in the past. Most of them are transferable between caravans. Yeah, before I start, and I've spoken about it before, Tiff and I have noticed that there's sort of three things that limit how long we can stay off-grid, and that's water, the toilet, and power. So the way that we've got this van set up, we pretty much can have about a week really comfortably without filling the toilets or running out of power or running out of water, having showers every day, all that kind of stuff. And obviously there's a balance between how long you can have off grid and then how much weight you're prepared or payload you're prepared to sacrifice to be able to stay longer. For us, a week is the sweet spot, and I reckon we've got that figured out pretty well. So starting with power, Tiff, or water?
Water.
Water, all right. So come around this way. We've got 3 water tanks on the Caravan, which I've spoken about. That's one more than we used to have on the last van, so we should have heaps. I've shown you how you can fill them separately and switch between tanks and all that stuff. But I also showed you that they're bottom filling, so you fill from the bottom of the tank here and it pushes all the water through. And the benefit of that is that it'll fill faster and you'll get a complete fill without airlocks. So that's a no-brainer. But then a few people were asking why it's also got a fill point on the side of the van then. And there's a really good reason for that. You need pressure to be able to fill from the bottom of the tank, whereas this is a gravity fill point. So if we're off grid, and we want to fill this with like a couple of jerry cans or something like that, we wouldn't be able to push the water through the bottom. It's got to be gravity fed. So I can stick a funnel in here or a hose in here, and then I can literally like manually decant jerry cans. So that's why they've got a fill point up here. But it's also really handy for me, for the way that we're planning to refill this van when we are off grid. So you've seen that I've got a bladder that I take away on lads trips and stuff like that. I've got a 60 litre PVC drifter bladder. I'm probably going to get rid of that and get a 100 litre bladder. I want just a little bit more. So it is just gravity. I could gravity feed the water tanks just using this hose if I get the car close enough. But I've got a different idea for how I'm going to do it, because I found this nifty little product called an adventure pump. And it's basically just a 12 volt submersible pressure pump. And it comes with an Anderson plug on the end, so I can just plug it into the drawbar of the Caravan, plug it into the car, wherever. But what I really like about it is that the pump itself, if I take the cap off the end, because it's a submersible pump, I can use it as an inline pump as well, and it's got a little 13mm barb fitting there. So with the bladder in the car, I can literally connect that, and then I'll just use a straight connector so I can extend it as long as I want. I always carry one of these anyway, because instead of just taking one 20-metre water hose away with me, I actually take 2 10-metre ones and a straight connector, so I don't have to get out 20 metres of hose if I don't need it. Yeah, so that's always worked for me. But anyway, straight connector onto my normal Caravan hose there. Turn that pump on by plugging it in, and now I can pump water straight out of that bladder. And I can fill from that bottom tank like we spoke about by connecting it there. Or if you don't have a fill point on the bottom like we do, the same mob, Adventure Pumps, also sell what I think they call a bird beak filler, which is a pretty simple but clever little thing, so that it'll just sit there on your water fill point and it won't fall out. Had you seen that before, Tiff?
Oh.
That's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can fill like that. And you don't have to be standing there actually holding the thing, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to flick that off and show you one more reason that I really like this pump as well.
It's also great having a bladder versus like jerry cans, just because when we're not using the bladder, it just rolls up to nothing, hey?
Yeah, and I like it being removable, because I'll take that away on boys' trips, I'll take it away on the Caravan trip, I'll stick it in the boat when we're doing boating trips, but for the rest of our lives, when I'm doing the school run or whatever, stuff like that, using the car as just a normal dad bus, I don't need to have a big bulky water tank built in. Anyway, so that's how you can use it as an inline pump from a bladder, but not everyone has bladders, and some people have jerry cans. So I'll put that screen back on the end, and we won't need this extension. And one thing that I really liked was that this pump is small enough to fit in the mouth of like your standard Pro Quip jerry can. So that'll fit in there. Whoop. And then you can do the same thing. Geez, I made a mess of that, didn't I? I couldn't have done that any messier. Yeah, so if you carry a couple of jerry cans, that's a really quick way to transfer water. Now, I can't remember exactly all the specs of that pump, so I'll stick them on the screen, but they do a few different kits. They've got a heap of add-ons and stuff. What I like about this one, I'm gonna use that pump like this for filling the caravan when we're on family caravanning trips. I'm also gonna use that pump when I'm on lads trips for having showers, because the way that I've got the car set up at the moment, I don't actually have pressurized water. It's all gravity fed, which is fine, but it means I have to take like a battery shower away with me. So I'll use this pump for that, so I can have proper pressurized showers from the car. That pump is also suitable for pumping salt water. So I'm also gonna take it on the boat and use it as a deck wash, which I think is really handy. Yeah, really good bit of kit. That is a brand new product to me. I've had it for about a month now. The price point's pretty good. And we have a discount code for it, Tiff, so you can save 10% off with our normal discount code WILD. Have a look on their website. They've got a few different kits. They've even got a canvas bag and stuff that it comes with. Yeah, really good bit of gear. And that's an Aussie company, Adventure Pumps. Is that all I wanted to say about that, Tiff?
Yep.
Righto, while we're talking water bits and pieces, this is from Bunnings. It's the brand Ozito. Want to come in here, Tiff? It's a Camlock kit for your grey water hose, and I swear they must have made this specifically for caravanners, because it fits 1-inch pipe, which is your standard grey water hose. You will need to use like a kettle or something to soften it up so that you can squeeze these fittings on. But yeah, I think they've made it specifically for caravanners because it comes with 3 pieces. So you've got one piece that you can leave permanently attached to your caravan plumbing. And I didn't bother doing like a DIY fitting video for this because everyone's got different size plumbing coming off their grey water. Mine had a threaded connection, so I just found a little threaded right angle and set all that up. But yeah, it comes with that connection to leave permanently fitted to your caravan. And then this section to connect your grey water hose. So it's just a Camlock, just like that. Really simple, it's not gonna leak. And then on the other end, they've given you another male fitting so that when you've got this disconnected and all rolled up, you can actually put the 2 fittings together so you don't get any leaks or stinky grey water through your tunnel boot or wherever you store it. So yeah, that's really clever. That's from Bunnings, and I think it's like 15 bucks or something. That's a no-brainer, I like that one. Also while we're here, Tiff, this is just a weird little one, but if you've got like a male standard hose fitting like that anywhere on your caravan, and you don't want dust and crap getting in it, Cameron Caravans had these little plugs that they've 3D printed to fit perfectly over there. But your old man, Tiff, actually found a fitting from Bunnings that does the exact same thing as well. So I'll put some footage of what it looks like on the screen because I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, from Bunnings, there's a little cap there you can get to cover that, keep the wasps and dust and crap out of it. And then lastly, on the topic of water, I have fit the Topargee gauge again. So I've got some footage where I'll be able to show you where I installed it inside the caravan. There's a nice little spot behind the drawers, really close to the water pump, which was handy. Yeah, so if you don't know, the way that the Topargee works is I'm using it's a Bluetooth one, so there's no physical screen. I'm using an app on my phone to actually tell me exactly how much water I've got left. You do have to hit the refresh button to get a live readout of how much water's left. It won't actually count down the whole time. I think that's thrown a few people. When you order it, you do have to order what connections you want coming off the sender unit, because every van and boat or wherever it's being installed, you know, can have different size fittings. The one that I'm using, it just runs off 2 AA batteries. There is a patch lead if you want to install it into your 12-volt system, but I've just done it like the super simplest way you can. Literally just cut the existing piping, fit this thing in, and then 3M tape the unit to the wall and it talks to your phone. It couldn't be any easier than that.
And the batteries last ages anyway.
Yeah, I think what do we get, a year, maybe 18 months? Yeah, for AA batteries. The other thing I was going to say about this, you actually set how big your water tanks are. You set the volume, And I know I've got 3 water tanks in this, so it should be somewhere around 300 litres, but there's always a dead space. So to figure out exactly how much volume you have, just fully fill your tanks, reset your Topargee so it says it's 100% full, turn on all your taps and stuff until there's absolutely no water left, and then you'll be able to have a look at your gauge or at your app, and you'll know exactly what your real water volume is, and then you can reset the volume on the app. So I haven't done that for ours yet, but I expect it'll be, what do you reckon, Tiff, 260, 270 litres, something like that.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. And then on that, the next question that I always get about Topargee is, what if you don't fully fill your water tanks? Now my setup's quite handy because I can isolate the 3 tanks. Once I figure out how much volume's in them, I would know that if I've only filled 1 water tank, I've got 85 or 90 litres or whatever it is. If you don't have that and you like half fill or quarter fill, or you fill off bladders or jerrys, and you want to know exactly what your volume is so that you can set it on your Topargee, then from the same brand, from Topargee, he sells, what do they call that? A water flow meter. So that literally fits on, it's got a battery built into it, fits onto the end of your water hose as you're filling your van, and it will count how many litres as it passes through. And then you know if you've filled up, 25, 30 litres off this readout here, you can just change the water volume on your Topargee to reflect that. So yeah, I think that's it, Tiff, for the Topargee stuff.
I was just going to mention as well, like we do have the water gauges on the Red Arc app, but they're just not that accurate.
Yeah. They're pretty close. It gives you like 4 bars or whatever. So basically once a bar comes off, that's 25%. You're sort of roughly guessing what that means for...
Yeah, and when you're off grid, you're counting every litre sometimes.
Yeah, and we use that Topargee app to totally fine tune like how much water the washing machine uses, how much water Tiff uses for a shower versus if she's washing her hair. Like we know, and then by doing that, we can work out exactly how long we can get off grid with the water that we've got. And then I can figure out, do I need to take a bladder or a jerry can, for the next leg of our trip or whatever. So yeah, that's really handy. And then the second limiting factor for off-grid stuff for us is the toilet. So we're using a chemical Cassette type toilet system, which we're quite happy with. We know that we get about 3 days, give or take. I get 3 days if I'm in like a public campground and there's other people around and I'm doing a lot of wheeze in the toilet inside. Sorry if this is too much info. But if we're off grid and there's no one else around, I'll be doing wheeze outside, and that means that the toilet cassette lasts a little bit longer. But we take a second cassette away with us, and that means I know that we get somewhere between 6 and 8 days. So yeah, second cassette, and somewhere where you can store it outside of the car, like a tunnel boot or a toolbox, is a bit of a win.
They're pretty leak-proof though.
Yeah, we've never had one.
No.
We had one bounce around once, Tiff, so bad on corrugations that the wheels snapped off.
Yeah.
But we have never had an explosion, a poo-splosion, luckily. The third limiting factor for staying off grid for us is always power. We've got a massive battery and solar system in this, 600 amp hour of Allspark batteries, 1,000 watts of Allspark 24 volt solar panel, all from Off-Road Living. That was a no-brainer for us because we've been running their gear for like 8 years, so that was an easy decision. But the way that we've got it wired, the solar panels, might be of interest to you if you're designing your own caravan or building your own caravan or anything like that, because there are different ways to do it, and caravan manufacturers don't always do it the best way. They'll often do it the easiest way. And the specs still sound impressive when they say 1,000 watts of solar, but the way it's wired can make a really big difference in terms of like practicality and efficiency and stuff. So you noticed I plugged my water pump in a Anderson plug here on the front. You might have noticed there was another Anderson plug there. This one is running straight to the Red Arc's solar input, and that means that I can stick a portable panel off that one. So if we are parked in the shade somewhere, I can stick a portable panel out somewhere in the sun and still get some solar input. Now that's the only solar that's running off the Red Arc. So the Red Arc is the DC-DC charger. It's taking alternator input as well. The reason that I didn't run all the roof solar off that Red Arc was because when I'm driving, I want the Red Arc to be giving me full current from the alternator, and I want all the solar going through separate controllers so that I can get both simultaneously. If I ran everything through the Red Arc, I'd be limited to how much input I can have. That's one reason. The second reason is that I did want an input for that portable panel, like I said. And then the third reason is I want to be able to run my solar on the roof through 2 separate strings. So I've got 1,000 watts on the roof. I can't remember how they split it up, but let's just say I've got 500 watts coming through 2 different Victron controllers. And the reason for that is if I'm parked in like semi-shade, or if the sun's really low in the sky and it's throwing a shadow off my aircon unit on the roof over one panel, I don't lose that whole array and get no solar coming in at once. By having 2 separate strings, 2 separate arrays, even if one's knocked out with shade, the other one can still produce. So just simple things like that to think about. This setup's really good. I can have 50 amp coming in from the alternator plus, 50 plus amp coming in from the solar as I'm driving. Like 100 amp of charge is pretty crazy. And then while I'm up the front, a little bit of shameless self-promotion. We've obviously gone and fit our bags on the van. These are actually the same ones, Tiff, that we had on the Willow.
Yep.
Tiff's just given them a hose out. You would have seen that we run like a vinyl insert if you do want them dustproof and waterproof. We don't actually use the vinyl inserts because I normally have water hoses and the grey water hose and that kind of stuff in one of them.
Yeah, it depends what you want to run. If you want to run your power cord, maybe you would use the vinyl insert.
But yeah, I stick 20 metres of freshwater hoses and the 20 metre grey water hose all fit in this one bag. And if there's any drips or anything like that, it all just drips out. If it does get dusty and horrible and crap, we just hose them off like we did before we put them on the van. Install's really easy. It comes with the hardware that you need, comes with the screws, comes with a stainless bracket. I've used all stainless fixings. These are made in Perth. It's really hard wearing gear. We just wanted a product that we were really proud of, made locally, and the best quality gear that we could get. The other thing is I always get asked about if you can still fit them if you've got mud flaps and stuff. I wanted to show you what that looks like with mud flaps because it absolutely is doable. I just backed off the fixings for the mud flap and snuck our straps through. We're actually going to delete these mud flaps shortly anyway when we get a stone stomper. I need to get that measured up and stuff. I haven't done it yet. But I wanted to show you what it looks like. It absolutely can be done.
And we are also going to keep the stone guard with the stone stomper because that's a fixing point instead of using the...
Yeah, when you fit your stone stomper, there's 2 ways to keep them taut across the middle. One way is to fix off the bottom of the stone guard, which is the better solution. And then the other way is you can slip a piece of PVC tube in there, but it ends up sagging. It doesn't work as well. So we wanted to keep the stone guard and the stone stomper together, like you said, Tiff.
Plus we get more storage.
Yeah.
And then on the other side too, we can only fit 2 bags on this van just because of the design of the stone guard.
Yeah, we had a 3rd one on the other van. Yeah. We could slide this forwards and fit a 3rd one, but it's just not going to work on this setup. So we're quite happy to run 2. You've got kids.
Yeah, we normally keep all the beach toys and kids stuff in that one, like wet, bathers and towels and come back from the beach.
Snatch straps if they're muddy, stuff that you don't want inside your car, inside your van, because when you take these back from the beach, no matter how many times you shake it out, there's still sand coming out for weeks. So yeah, stone guard bags are in stock. They're a good thing. You can get the vinyl inserts as well if you do want them water and dust proof. I was going to talk about... And
you have done a separate video on how to install them before.
Oh yeah, I'll stick it in the video description. I did do an install video, but it's very simple. Takes like 2 minutes. And then I mentioned this new RV Smart Leveller from Oricom in the last episode. If you didn't watch that one, basically it's a little unit from Oricom, comes down to about 170 bucks with my discount code, and it'll talk to an app on your phone that you download, and it will give you a real-time level both that way and the other way, if you know what I mean, up and down and side to side, so that you can get your van level. So my idea is I whip around, adjust the legs until the readout on my phone as I'm going says that the van's dead level. Should save me some time. I have had this thing installed since then, so a couple of days ago I installed it, and that was really as simple as, it's totally wireless. It comes with 2 batteries. Stick the batteries in, peel the tape off the back of it, the 3M tape, stick it to your wall. The van needs to be level when you first stick it, because that's how it kind of calibrates to what is level. And then I've stuck it in the tunnel boot right up the front here, and the reason is I want it as close to the front of the car as possible, because I love the idea of, if the campsite permits, being able to drive around until I found level ground, so I don't have to make too much adjustment to the legs. So yeah, I've had a little bit of a play with that, and that seems really good so far, but I will let you know after I've used it a few times how I'm getting on with it. Also from Oricom, I've had this for a little while, and I have used it once, I think, but I am going to take it with me on my lap. It's a wireless reversing camera from Oricom. It's USB rechargeable. It's got a magnetic base. Now, the reason I wasn't sure how much I was going to use this thing is because I've already got a reversing camera in the car. I've already got reversing cameras on the Caravan. But I think what this is going to be handy for is like backing into the shed. When I put the van away in the shed, there's often little blind spots where I can't see anything. I can magnetic stick this to the, the back of the shed wall. It's adjustable to a metal pillar or something, and that blind spot where I can't see. If I'm in a caravan park, same thing. If Tiff's not with me or we can't watch two blind corners at the same time, I can stick this thing to a colorbond fence or wherever, and it will help me navigate into those tight spots.
You really just don't need me at all, so I can just stay in the car, and then we can save ourselves the argument.
Maybe. Tiff was saying she also might even use this, like we stick Brodie to bed. We haven't got a baby monitor in this van, we haven't installed one yet. We're thinking we'll probably use this on the odd occasion. We've put Brodie to bed and we're, at the neighbour's caravan or whatever, it's starting to rain. So yeah, I'm not sure how much we'll use that thing, but I think when we do use it, it's going to be really handy. So I'll keep it fully charged, I'll throw it in the drawers. I've got an unusual noise underneath the car. I can stick this to the chassis rail and watch it as I'm driving, try to diagnose it. I can see a few little uses for that. So,
or if you don't have a reverse camera on your Caravan and you don't want to install one, that's a great alternative.
Yeah, 15 metres of range, it's waterproof, it's infrared for nighttime, all that kind of stuff.
Washing line.
Great timing to talk about the washing line, Tiff, it's raining. I didn't do an install video of this because we pinched this idea from Trip in a Van. Years ago, they did a really good DIY video on fitting one of these stainless cable washing lines to your awnings. All the fixings come from Bunnings. I'm going to put a link to their video in the description below so you can watch it, because they even did a full breakdown of what you need to buy from Bunnings to fit it. But yeah, we did that on the last van and that was really, really handy. The only thing I had to take note of was making sure that I cleared the lights and I also cleared the doorway, Tiff, because the doorway was pretty close, just to get that right. Do you want to go on the van? You're getting wet.
And that washing line is the only one that we use. We don't have one of those portable turnstile, peg in the ground type ones. I just find them a pain in the bum.
Yeah.
Yep.
One last thing while it's not raining too heavily, TPMS. I'm sticking with the same brand we've ran before, the iCheck. I do like the iCheck one. Come under this, Tiff, if you want. I like the iCheck one for a couple of reasons. Probably the main one is that dripping on you?
No, it's fine.
When you go off-road and you let your tyres down, like even a gravel road or whatever, because you set the values that you want the alarm to go off on your TPMS for low pressure or high pressure, when you deflate your tyres, it thinks you got a flat and they beep at you and it's annoying, right? So you've got to go back into the system and reset the value so it doesn't beep at you. iChecks are really clever. Every time you unscrew one of these sensors off your tyre and you let your tyres down, when you screw that sensor back on, it sets whatever the tyre pressure was at as you screwed it on as your new benchmark pressure. And rather than a set value for when the alarm goes off, it does it as a percentage. And I can't remember exactly which way it swings, but say it's 10 or 15% over or 10 or 15% under that set value when you screwed it on, then it will set an alarm off. So it means you never have to go in here and turn the alarm off. If the alarm's going off, you've got a flat or you've got a leak. And it has saved us on a number of occasions already. Off-road, I've had crap stuck in my bead and I've had tyres slowly going flat. And even on-road, I was on the Great Central Road steaming along and I had a tyre going flat. And if it hadn't told me before it had completely, come off, the tyre come off the rim, that's a potential accident. So I do think these are worth investing in. And the install is literally as simple as it's solar powered and up on the dash, there's enough sunlight, even in crappy weather, that you never have to actually charge the thing. I just put some Velcro on the bottom, stick it on my dash mat, and then the sensors just screw onto your tyres. They do come with some rubber boots, which I do use, and they also come with a tool and some locking nuts, which I've never used. And the idea is it's like an anti-theft thing, so they don't get pinched. Touch wood, I've never had one pinched anyway, and they don't rattle off. Like I've never lost one on corrugations or anything. I don't use the locking nuts, just because I'm off-road all the time and it's just easy to get these on and off without unscrewing them. So I'm running the 10 tyre kit, which is 1 spare for the car, 1 spare for the van, and 8 tyres for a dual axle. If you've got a dual axle like me, you will probably need this little booster. That does have to be hardwired. It needs a power source, so you can just pick it up off an Anderson plug or something at the back of your car there. But yeah, depending on how long your rig is, most dual axles I think will need a booster. And that's pretty much it. The postie is coming like every day, dropping bits and pieces off. I think there's 3 more things that we want to fit.
We've still got to sort out Starlink.
Yep.
We just need to modify the cable or do something
so
with the plugs on it. So
we just ordered some bits off Amazon to be able to do that, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we need to order the stone stumper, so we need to get the measurements for that.
Yeah, I'll do that today, I think.
Yeah, and we're just waiting on a bin bag for the spare wheel on the back.
Yeah, so PM Canvas products make a really nice spare wheel bin bag, so we'll run one of those again. They've got a bit of a lead time, so we had to get an order in.
Yeah. And then I've been going crazy with Black Friday sales, just getting stuff for the inside. So it's been handy living in the van for the last week, because once you're living in it, you get a good idea of what you need and how to fill the cupboards and all the storage containers and all of that stuff. So that'll be in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
My little internal tour.
Yeah. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.